Alright, so I pinned the entire bottom. I purposely put the pins on this side because it's going to be easier to sew this looking at this side here. So you can see it kind of looks like a, I don't know, a weird looking bouquet. I am going to leave a hole in the bottom of this so that we can stuff it and sew it up later. And as you're sewing this, you're just going to have to be very careful and flatten it out. So we're going to start right here. I'm going to put my needle in this time before I start so that I have more control over it. Because anytime you need to move this around, that needle needs to be down, otherwise you're going to lose it. So we're going to go a few stitches again, and then we're going to back stitch. And we're doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance just like we did before, but this time it is around a circle. Now I'm going to put my needle in, use my hand wheel to do that. And I'm going to lift up, and I'm just going to flatten everything out. And then I'm going to put it down. Go around, my needle's in. I was just about to do the hand wheel to do that. Lift it up, flatten it out. See, it's not too difficult, you just have to be patient and slow with it. So go around again, my needle's in, lift up, flatten, put it back down. Needle in, lift up, flatten it out, put it back down, 1/4 inch seam allowance, needle in, lift up, flatten, put it back down. Always make sure you put that down. Sometimes we forget and then it gets all tangled up and you regret that. Put the needle in, lift it up, flatten it out, back down. Now see, it looks like we've reached the end here because we have about this much space until we're going to reach where we started. So instead of continuing with this, I'm going to do a little back stitch. This is that hole I was talking about that you have to leave so that we can turn our minion right side out. I do suggest making it about the width of 2 fingers, because if you don't, it's going to be impossible to shove all of this through this little hole. Clip your strings. Take your pins out so you don't stab yourself as you're trying to turn this right side out. I would check it to make sure it looks nice and straight, not too bunched, before turning it right side out, because we are going to clip it again. But not through the line of stitching. This is what's going to make a curve the opposite direction. You can't take this and curve it that direction, but you can take this and curve it that direction. That's why we do these clips. And you'll do this throughout the entire school year, anytime we have a curve that we have to turn right side out. You always want to make sure you put right sides together, unless I tell you not to. But right sides together means that you have a project that has hidden seam allowances. We don't want to see these seam allowances. There we go. It is all clipped all the way around. Looks like French in the 70s. You can see this isn't the easiest thing in the world, but we're going to make this happen. You also see that you want your hole to be decent size, but you don't want it to be too big either. And now we have a minion that is turned right side, and we have our little hole here. Now we're going to stuff this next with stuffing, and then we're going to take our hole and we're going to close it up with our hands and pin it, and you're going to do a slip stitch there to hide it, the uneven slip stitch. There you go. That's it. This is the end of machine sewing on this minion. The rest of this is hand sewing, minus the pants. I think we do a little bit of machine sewing on the pants. All right.